Ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, everybody out there, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I cannot get off this topic. Now, let me introduce you to Hasuitan. This is Hasuitan, and he's this cute little porker feller. And if we notice, like, some of the qualities of Hasuitan, the pig, he has a really stuffed up nose, right? And he could get like deep into a carcass and deep into a dead body and sit there and just crunch him up. He'd be able to breathe. It wouldn't be like, kind of a snout of things that wouldn't be, of that nature. So Hasui Tan has convinced billions of people out there that this verse right here, Leviticus 11:7 and 8, is no good. In fact, they use the words of the Messiah to say basically, hey, I can eat whatever I want to eat. So let me go over this real quick. And the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. Of their flesh shall ye eat, and their carcasses shall ye not touch. So of their flesh shall ye not eat. I don't know if I got not in there. Not eat. And their carcass shall ye not touch. They're unclean to you. Now, this is crazy because it goes on the heels of the video I did yesterday, and right afterwards, this gal, Mary Lou Santana, and she wrote in, and she writes in stuff that we hear all the time. So we hear this by default. If you're a Christian, the only verses you know to defend that eating swine is good is this. And it says Mark 7:18 and 19. Jesus said there's nothing outside the man which can defile him if it goes into him, but the things which proceed out of the man are what defile him. And so what we are saying here, or what the Christian religion is saying, is that simply when our Messiah, Yahushua HaMashiach, said this, he was simply saying that all food is clean, is how the Christians take it. So verse 18, let's look at it, Mark 7:18. And he said unto them, are ye so without understanding also? Do ye not perceive that whatsoever thing from without enters into the man, it cannot defile him, because it enters not into his heart, but into the belly, and goes out into the draught, purging all food? And then they put a question mark right there. And in some translations, you'll see a parenthesis, and it says, making all food cling, or something of that nature. And, here is the struggle, and here is where we can't jump into the middle of a book you can't jump in the middle of a book, and you can't jump into the middle of a chapter without understanding what he's even talking about, or you can make a tragic mistake. Now, if we cruise up to the top of this, and I've done lessons on this before, but we'll do it again. And again, I apologize for my dogs barking. There's just too many of them. Mark 7:1. Then came together unto him the Parashim and certain of the scribes which came from Jerusalem. And when they saw some of his Talmudian eat bread with defiled, that is to say, with unwashen hands, they found fault. For the Parashim and all the Yahudim, except they wash their hands oft, eat not, holding the tradition of the elders. I might have to go shut the dog up. Okay, so what does this say right here? It says there's a group of people, the Parashim and they're scribes, right? These are not the scribes, but these are the religious group, the Pharisees, and they are a religious group. Let me pause this real quick. So we have two religious groups right here that are the Sadducees and Pharisees, that the Christian religion believes are the people that kept the laws of God. Now, these folks did not keep the laws of God, and what they did keep was the traditions of the elders right there, right? For the Parashim and all the Yahudim, except they wash their hands oft, eat not, holding the traditions of the elders. So they're setting this up because these guys are accusing them of not washing their hands before they eat. So verse 4, and when they come from the market, except they wash, they eat not. And many other things there be which they have received to hold, as the washing of cups and pots, brazen or brazen vessels, and of tables. So these are not things in the Torah, right? We are not told to wash our household dishes, even though we should. It's probably a good idea. There's no laws, there's no commandments to do that. There's stuff in the temple where we have to keep everything clean and various things of that nature, and a washing process. But they've taken this from the temple, and they've taken it and they had everybody, all the Jew people, they still do. They have like little places where they're supposed to wash their hands, and they're supposed to wash it with a special cup, fill water into it with one way, and there's ceremonial stuff. And this is all contrary to the Torah. We were not told to walk like this. Verse 5, then the Parashim and scribes ask him, why walk not your Talmudian according to the tradition of the elders, but eat bread with unwashed hands? So right here, as we get closer to where the Christian default of this stuff is, this is all about unwashed hands. It has absolutely nothing to do with unclean food being made clean. He answered and said unto them, well has Yeshayahu prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, this people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. And Yeshayahu is Esaias and Isaiah. So 7, howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Guys, so they're sitting there making these people wash hands in certain ways with certain ceremonies, and this stuff is frivolous and it's laughable to our Creator. This is not what it is, and Yahushua is just about to school these guys. He says, for laying aside the commandment of Elohim, ye hold the tradition of men as the washing of pots and cups, as many other such like things ye do. And he said unto them, full well, ye reject the commandment of Elohim, that ye may guard your own tradition. That's what this is all about. This is all about traditions of men, and this thing. It has nothing to do with swine being made clean. Verse 10, for Moshe said, honor your father and mother, and whoso curses father or mother, let him die the death. But ye say, if a man say to his father or mother, it is Corban, that is to say, a gift, by whatsoever you might be profited by me, he shall be free. Now, what does that say? That is saying that they have other traditions. He's sitting there putting these people on the chopping block, saying, look, all of this stuff is not right. We have a commandment that we are supposed to honor our father and mother to death. We're not supposed to abandon them in nursing homes and things of that nature. We're supposed to keep the old and save the young. But they don't do that. And ye suffer him no more to do aught for his father or mother. Because of the traditions of men, these parents are left without a son or daughter, because these Pharisees and Sadducees have brought this crazy stuff into their traditions and their religion. Verse 13, making the word of Elohim of no effect through your tradition, which ye have delivered, and many such like things you do. And when he had called all the people unto him, he said unto them, hearken unto me every one of you, and understand. There is nothing from without a man that entering into him can defile him. But the things which come out of him, those are they that defile the man. Guys, at this time, pig and swine is not food. He's not saying that you can pick up a corpse and eat the corpse and you're not going to be owned or defiled. He's talking about if you eat the regular food, the Leviticus 11 food that are dietary guides, if that is what you eat, you're not going to die. That's not how you're going to die. You're not going to, by unwashed hands, you're going to be just fine. You don't need to wash your hands to eat. It's what comes out of your heart. If any man have ears to hear, let him hear. And when he was entered into the house from the people, his Talmudian asked him concerning the parable. And he said unto them, are ye so without understanding also? Do ye not perceive that whatsoever thing from without enters into the man, it cannot defile him? Because it enters not into his heart, but into the belly, and goes out into the draught, purging all food. And he said, that which comes out of the man, that defiles him. It's what your heart is, folks. It is what your heart, your mind, and your soul. What does your tongue operate? What are the vibrations coming off of your tongue? Are they good? Are they of Yah? Are they speaking things that are holy? Or are they evil? And that's the thing. When boys get together, and boys can become foul. So can girls. Everyone. It's those are the situations we never want to be in. We don't want to become gyms. We don't have to have Jason's gym or Nicole's gym or anybody's gym out there, because we don't want to be foul. We don't want to be those people. And then he says, right, for from within, out of the heart of men proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornication, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these things come from within and defile the man. And from hence he arose and went to the borders of Zor and Zidon, and he entered into a house, and no man did know, but he could be hid. Okay, so this, when we quote these verses out of context without reading anything of there's nothing. I'll tell you what, in the 66 King James Version Bibles and all of the extracurricular Enoch, Jasher, Jubilees, Maccabees, you name it, all of those, it never once says that we should defile ourselves like this, right? In fact, in Maccabees, they went against it, right? When the king wanted everybody to do all this evil stuff, and they weren't going to do it, right? So that takes me to one of the last things, and I'm going to leave you guys with a video here. And here is something you should all understand. This is how hot dogs are made, right? First thing was pork, and there's chicken, I guess depending on the kind of hot dog. But in the Torah, we're told not to eat fat. Do you see all that fat in there? All of that fat is not acceptable. So we are not to eat the blood. We are not to eat the fat. We have a certain recipe for how we are supposed to eat. And this is how hot dogs are made. And hot dogs are extremely foul things. And by the time it makes it to these grinders, I remember my uncle, he used to own a packing plant. And they would literally chop up everything into the sausage, whatever sausage was being made. I mean, you could process lips and elbows and things that you normally wouldn't process, and it comes out and nobody would know the difference. It's just meat, and that's kind of the point is they grind this stuff up. So as my dogs are going wild again, we can watch this process go down. And guys, and if you look at this machine, look at the back side of it. Before the stuff was even in there, this machine was not clean. It did not look clean. Whatever this stuff is that makes the black come out of this ooze, I mean, these are definitely unclean things to us. We shouldn't be eating hot dogs. We shouldn't be eating any of this stuff. Even like pork hot dogs, you're going to end up with all sorts of evil stuff in there. Especially depending on the butchers, how they do it. I mean, how much do they actually add? If it's just straight chicken hot dogs for real, and you made it yourself, you know what it is. But even there, they pour in. Those are the outer coating. That's the tubes for the hot dogs. And it's just they're a lot of them are made with pig there as well. And so they put pig and swine into literally everything we've done. And as people see this process right here, that is what you eat. These go in and you put them on the barbecue grill or whatever it is, or some people even eat them like plain. And when you're looking at this stuff, it doesn't look good. And during this process, it looks like they're at some point kind of cooked with steam. They're steam cooked or something. I don't know. They change radically as this process goes through. But this is not food, right? This is not what you would be considering food. This is not what we should be eating. And what I will leave you guys with is, read your Bibles. Guys, read your Bibles intimately. We are, as a family, we are owned by doing more and more Torah videos. We are under the I don't know, the judgment of Hasatan, and only alive by the grace of our Creator. Because as we do more and more teachings as a family, and we push and we rush more and more teachings out, because it is imperative that as we are in these crazy end times and nobody really sees what in the world is going on, there are a few people, the stragglers, and there are people that really will come to what our Creator is all about and how He wants us to live and how He wants us to communicate with Him. And it all begins in the Torah. It begins in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. And, the whole Bible it's an amazing book. It's an amazing set of scriptures. And for those who neglect it and who don't want to keep it, we will be judged by this. We will be judged by the Torah, regardless if you keep the Torah or not. People are like, well, God knows my heart. Yeah. And that's absolutely true. And the Bible says the heart of man is a very wicked thing. And we've all sinned, fallen short of the glory of God. There's no other way to begin this, except salvation begins at the stake or the cross with our Messiah Yahushua. And he is not God. He is the Son of God. He was born as a man, that he died, resurrected 3 days later, and he came back, and he will be our king, right? He will be our king in Mount Zion. And this crap that you're seeing right here on the screen, we're not going to have hot dogs in the kingdom to come, right? You're not going to have this crap in the kingdom to come. It's going to be holy food. It's going to be the food that we are designated to eat. And that food is in Leviticus 11. Okay, guys, so this is to the processing, and I am going to leave you with one more video with a couple of doctors of people that I found today on what exactly happens when you eat pork. So hopefully, or eat hot dogs in particular, or not hot dogs, excuse me, bacon. Yeah, I'm sitting here watching this hot dog go down. So anyway, much love to everybody out there. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope you guys get something out of this. I'm out.
As a matter of fact, the consumption of bacon and hot dogs and pastrami and luncheon meats, even prior to conception in women, increase the risk of childhood cancers or autism or brain tumors in their offspring.
Many people don't know, but the fumes that you smell when you cook bacon are actually carcinogenic. You're eating meat that is processed, high in salt, high in fat, so that can actually immediately constrict your arteries. And they have actually seen children as low as 8, 9 years old already showing signs of constriction of their arterial system. And we all know that a high salt diet is also increased with increased risk of mortality, definitely processed meat, as well as colon cancer and all types of cancer.
When you eat too much animal protein, there appear to be unfavorable effects on many different levels. You know, there has been interesting work looking at the gut microbiome and metabolites that might be released into the bloodstream that might play a powerful role in terms of promoting inflammation. We also know that the body's not able to process meat as well. This might have adverse effects in terms of just your ability to properly regulate your own sugars, so your blood sugars, and a lot of things like that end up being out of balance. And again, promote inflammation. This ends up being a bit of a snowball effect.
So when we eat bacon, what happens is that we introduce the introduction of excess cholesterol. Our body actually produces cholesterol. The liver makes cholesterol, and it makes just enough cholesterol to satisfy all the hormones in the body. But when we introduce excess cholesterol, the body says, hey, this is great. You've given me some extra cholesterol. I better store it because I don't know what's going to happen. We might be in an ice age tomorrow. We might be in a drought. I'm going to store it because it's a really good product. And the problem is it starts to store it in the organs. It starts to store it in the liver, in the muscles, and in the vessels. So within those nice circular vessels, the cholesterol starts getting deposited in the vessels, and it builds up slowly and slowly. And the vessels don't like it. The process of atherosclerosis is actually one where the body starts to attack those cholesterol deposits that go into the vessels. And of course, it builds up and up and up and up, and the vessels close. And that means that you have impaired blood flow to the key organs?
Well, all of the things that are risk factors associated with eating high amounts of animal foods: increased risk of cancer, increased risk of type 2 diabetes, increased risk of coronary artery disease. It's significantly worse when you eat this processed garbage. I mean, bacon and hot dogs. And I've often thought that one of the things that we could do to discourage people from even wanting to eat these things is to show them a short video about how hot dogs are made. Significantly higher risk of chronic degenerative conditions and much more severe forms of those conditions, particularly cancer, when you eat processed meats like bacon and sausage and hot dogs.
Hypertension, high cholesterol, chronic kidney disease, hypothyroidism, cognitive decline, insulin resistance, diabetes, cancer, you name it. And so processed meat in general is considered, a class 1 carcinogen. And not only can it increase your risk for cancer, but as far as diabetes is concerned, processed meats, meat in general, foods that are relatively high in their total fat content, end up depositing small amounts of fat inside of your muscle tissue and inside of your liver tissue every single time you eat that food. So as those lipid droplets become larger inside of muscle cells, liver cells, then you end up developing insulin resistance, which is that insulin has a difficult time communicating with those tissues.
Hey everybody, this is Klaus. I just want to come in quickly and say, firstly, thank you very much for watching this video. Secondly, I wanted to talk very, very briefly about a new partnership. We partnered with a new group called NFI Diet. They provide whole food, plant-based meal guides that go a step further than anything in the past by completely personalizing them. The protocols being studied at a national institute in Europe, and they're getting some amazing results, including rapid weight loss as well as type 2 diabetes remission, often within weeks. Please check out the link down below if you want to find out more. Hope you enjoy the rest of the video.
So we know that if you expose any part of your digestive tract to a processed meat product, you're putting that part of your body at higher risk for developing cancer. And most notably, or infamously, is the colorectal cancer risk with processed meat products. Bacon and other processed meat is a class 1 carcinogen. And in the World Health Organization, that means that the research is so strong to show that it causes, not associated with, but it causes colorectal cancer. That's as much research and that's as strong an evidence as you see with products like tobacco and lung cancer.
The heme iron in bacon is also toxic to cells. It creates oxidative stress and inflammation, which damages cells. It makes it more prone to DNA damage and therefore cancer. It also causes cells to be insulin resistant and therefore increase the risk of diabetes. And bacon is high in salt, and we know that salt increases our risk of developing hypertension, so high blood pressure, which is again directly related to our risk of heart disease.
Yeah, you know how many articles had to be published before the Surgeon General of the United States put out a warning against cigarettes? 7,000 studies, right? Before they would be alerted. Do you think that there was a tough lobby in Congress against killing the tobacco industry? I mean, can you imagine the power of something like, well, here we are trying to kill the meat, dairy, egg, pork, and sugar industry. Think there's any power against this? Listen, it's the challenges in life that are exciting, and the word is going to get out there. Yeah.
Those foods are hormonally unfavorable too, because when you eat a lot of these animal products, it pushes up hormones, fat storage hormones, growth hormones, like IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1. What I'm saying here, for a diet to be hormonally favorable, it has to be low in processed carbohydrates, because processed carbohydrates could push up insulin too high. But the diet has to be low in animal products too, because too much animal products pushes up insulin-like growth factor 1 too high. It's also a processed meat, which is full of nitrosamino compounds, which are known carcinogens. As a matter of fact, the consumption of bacon and hot dogs and pastrami and luncheon meats, even prior to conception in women, increase the risk of childhood cancers or autism or brain tumors in their offspring. These foods are very dangerous foods. You know, they should come with a warning label on the package.